Welcome to the Resistance Chronicle. I'm Matt.
I'm Eric.
And today we had New Hampshire Profile Paranormal on the show. Two guys, Tim and John. And they talked about some paranormal investigating that they do. Enjoy the show.
Enjoy our awesome intro.
It's not a political statement. It's a patriotic duty.
And the editors of great newspapers, such as yours, owe a common obligation to the people.
But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream.
What are you people? On dope?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
That works, yeah.
I'm so prepared.
All we do is wing it too, so
That's it, man.
That's comedy,
I'm in a broken chair.
right?
That's all you gotta do. I just want no kind of like, oh, and what is this? And what kind of entity is this? And what is it? I can't do that. It's got to be relaxed. I'm so glad you guys brought stuff too. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lay it out right on the table.
I don't have a battery in this, so unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay.
But this thing, will have a audio demonstration.
Oh, okay. So you would record stuff in the room?
No, actually, this
So
picks
what do
up
you want?
vibration.
Mango
Oh.
or
So like
raspberry?
Raspberry works, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
So you could hear if something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if something's like walking by,
Right.
and you're in a different room, but you can hear the speaker.
So you would set that up in a room, go into another room with the.
Yeah, we set up things in every room. That's just
no
kidding.
Oh, you guys are legit then.
We try to be.
Yeah. All right. So we're recording. I've been recording for a while. Usually I do that, and I like to. I like it when we have our podcast and it's natural. Like what I'll do is I'll put the intro. We'll record an intro separately after you guys leave and just kind of welcome the Resistance.
That's exactly what we do.
And then we put the song in, and then I have the song overlap a little bit with just kind of like.
I saw that. It's like radio.
Talk.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool, yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
I don't want any kind of scripted anything to this. So anyway, we're here and we're with Tim and John of New Hampshire Profile Paranormal. Thanks for coming to Resistance Chronicle headquarters.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you do me a favor? Just scoot a little bit over.
Yeah.
Just because
A little closer.
the way,
Oh, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want him walking you out on camera.
Is that good?
Yeah, probably. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see. I'm sure it's fine. So I saw you on Facebook. It was on the Salem page, and you commented on something. I'm like, I don't even remember what the comment was, but it prompted me to check your profile.
Yeah.
Just to creep and see who you were.
Absolutely.
And I saw this New Hampshire Profile Paranormal, Central New Hampshire Paranormal, whatever the old thing was.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I texted him. I said, dude, you want to get these guys on the show and talk about some ghosts and stuff? So what we like to do here is we get into geopolitics and we get into all this like world crazy stuff, and sometimes we'll get into different conspiracy theories like MK Ultra, and we'll bring up like how the royal families are related to Dracula and all that crap. And everything going on now with COVID and all this bullshit, I'm fatigued. I'm pooped out from all the geopolitics and
that can really weigh down on you a lot.
Yeah.
So I am so happy that you guys are here right now.
With something different.
Something different.
You know what I mean?
And something super interesting too. I know nothing about any of this. I watched a few, cheesy shows that were on TV, and it's funny too that we're sitting here talking about this. I listened to this podcast that I just got into, and I told Eric about it too. It's called the Big Dumb Podcast, and it's these two guys that do it, and they had a guest on, and the title of it was something about like satanic something, and I thought it was going to get into like symbolism and Lucifer and all that stuff. But she started talking about like paranormal research and all that stuff. Yeah. So and I just keep a bunch of bullet points here to keep the conversation moving, especially when I feel like I'm rambling. So I guess with that, I'm going to leave it to you guys. What's considered paranormal?
Anything that can't be explained.
Yeah. So UFOs, Bigfoot, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your last show was about Bigfoot.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Listen to it today. Yeah.
It's real.
Awesome.
It's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
I believe it.
And I don't know if you checked out the clip that I showed you. We were at that client's house. The woman that you know, her name is Lisa.
This is like 5 years ago.
She inherited her father's home after he passed away.
Hold on 1 second. Just take the mic, put it right in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
And then, throw that one right in front of you. I can kind of splice the audio between the two when I do all that stuff on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'll do one. We've never had 2 guests in the house, so we never thought there was a reason to have more than 3 mics. So anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. This is, I was already convinced before, but this particular night, the evidence that we captured, she believed that her deceased father was hanging around, and not even just him, but like other family members too, because it was built within her own family and passed down through generations. And we ran what's called a spirit box.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of different spirit boxes. There's this little, Radio Shack one right here. It's a modified radio. It does a
Can I see that?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the batteries are dead right
That's
now.
okay.
But it's just your standard radio.
Oh, okay.
You can go in and modify it.
Yeah.
And it does a constant sweep to the radio stations.
Just like a little
transistor
radio.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it
Yeah.
on scan.
Exactly.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The spirit box that I use is actually an app, and there's a lot of debate in the paranormal field about the effectiveness of apps and whatnot, because they can be, like the people that make them and stuff, they could make them any way that they want to, sort of thing.
Program what the average.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, there's a lot of debate in the field about their effectiveness and whether or not they're legit or not. But the app that I use is called the SCD-1, Spirit Communication Device 1.
Okay.
And I bought this app, and I've had a lot of success with it. Remember that first night we used it at Hedgehog Pond near my house in Salem?
Oh, where those kids were murdered.
Yes, those girls that were murdered there.
I grew up with those girls, Kim and Leanne.
Yeah.
They were both dating 2 good friends of mine. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, one of my buddies now he lives in Florida, and the other one he lives out in Washington. Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I knew them pretty well. We got in some trouble as kids. It was good times,
Right. But that was the first night we used it. We brought it out there, and we got some results that night. I still have the session saved on my tablet somewhere, but we got a lot of replies that night. And I'm like, wow, this really works. But this particular night, it was November of 2016.
It was unbelievable.
And did you watch the clip? Did I show it to you?
I don't think so. I don't think you showed it to me. No, I never got any video from you.
I thought I sent you the link or something.
No, if you did, I apologize for not watching it.
I'm pretty sure
I watched
sent
it and
but
just don't remember it.
Yeah, it's
send it
right.
again though, please.
I will absolutely send it again. Maybe you can add it in later or something. But we did the session in the dining room, and all of a sudden, because when you're doing a session, right, you hear a radio going through, and you have to. It's a skill that you acquire eventually, to decipher what's radio and what's actually a reply that's coming through to you. Right. And the beauty with this app that I use is that there's absolutely no static at all.
Yeah.
Whereas with this,
You're going to get clear.
Right. You're going to get a lot of static with most spirit boxes.
Right. And if you have a lot of radios, the commercial radios are around, then you're gonna pick that up.
So there's no sound, and you'll only hear the voice.
You'll hear. Well, you're going to hear. You're going to hear your standard radio because it does a sweep through internet radio. And because it's on internet radio, you don't get any static at all. So it really helps to help you pick out what's a reply and what's just your standard on the radio, right?
Okay.
And I'm running the box, and it gets quiet. I'm like, what's wrong with this thing? It's not working. And we have a lot of technical difficulties sometimes, and I thought there was a difficulty going on at this point, but all of a sudden, we start hearing this voice coming through, and I shit you not, I can swear on here, right? You got to swear for emphasis on this.
Yeah, we don't send.
She goes, Dad, is that you? And you hear clear as day. Yeah, it's me.
No,
swear to God. And the clip is only a minute long because when the replies started coming through, my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe what was happening.
I think you did send me this. You sent me this when we first started talking.
I think so.
It was the first couple of texts.
Yeah. So when this started happening, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening right now. And like, I was so taken aback by what I was hearing that I nearly, like, I was recording on this, I nearly forgot to hit the record button. And finally I did hit record, and I got a solid minute of the conversation, which is basically what it was.
Speaking of forgetting to hit the record button, I want to make sure I did it too.
No worries.
Oh, good.
Okay.
There was another reply, like, Lisa, the client, she was like, oh, Dad, do you want us to go into the other room? Like, I'll play the piano or whatever. And you hear, it's freezing, he says.
Yeah.
And it was cold in that room because there was no heat in that particular room. And he said, it's freezing. And it's clear as day. Like, you can't mistake it for anything else.
Wow.
Like, her great-grandmother's name was Eliza. You hear that name come through.
Yep.
You hear this sort of like little girl say something, and Lisa says, well, who's that? I don't know who that is. And you hear, you don't know her. Her dad says that. You can hear that clear as day as well. And meanwhile, while this is happening, there's no radio coming through at all. Like, they took total control over the session.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was
and that was on the app, or that was on?
It was on the app. It was on the app that I run through my tablet.
Yep.
And I just couldn't believe it. I had goosebumps like all over. There were other replies too, like that minute long clip. And I am so lucky that we captured that because nothing like that has ever happened since, and I kind of honestly doubt it will ever happen again. Unless we revisit. Right. Unless we revisit that house, which we wanted to do, but we haven't done it yet. Okay. We haven't gone back yet. But, other things have happened. We both had, he saw an apparition one time in a basement. Houghton Mansion. Yep. You want to talk about that?
What is it?
The Houghton Mansion in North Adams, Mass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. See, you said that the name Eliza came through. I'd say that was like the most shocking because it wasn't prompted. It wasn't like,
oh yeah, that's true.
Eliza around. It was just like, who are you with? And it was like all of a sudden, like, it was like, I'm with Eliza.
Yeah.
And it's like, who's Eliza? Oh, it's my great grandmother or whatever.
No kidding. So tell me about this apparition that you see.
So, we did the Houghton Mansion. When was that?
I know that it was in September. I think it was September of 2015, I think.
Where is it?
North Adams, Mass.
North Adams, Mass. So,
where's North Adams? Is that Western Mass? Out towards Springfield?
Northwestern Mass.
It's pretty far.
Okay.
It's like the very top corner, top left corner, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So New York border.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
This was like a tour thing too. But we took advantage of it. We got him. We got our time worth out of it. But yeah, tell him.
So we broke up into groups, and me and this other guy that ran and this is back when we were called Central Hampshire.
Yep.
So it was me and this other guy with a couple of ladies in the basement, and the claim there was that some people saw a shadow apparition of a little girl, even like wearing a blue dress. We were trying to communicate with her, and I don't have this piece of audio with me, but I was running a recorder, and I always run a recorder with some earbuds in case I hear something like, in real time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. That's just the breaks. We did hear some type of voice, and we asked it if it could make that voice, make the sound again, and like over the recording, you can definitely hear like faint, like it just says no.
Yeah, like a little girl's voice. Yeah. Okay.
So then we kind of all gathered and went to the other end of the basement, and as we did, we saw like this little shadow that was kind of like poking like around like a door frame or whatever, and it was unbelievable. And one of the ladies, she was taking pictures of like the entire time, almost like a flip book type thing. Mm-hmm. So when she went through her pictures, you could see the outline of a blue dress.
No kidding. Oh wow! Are those pictures posted up anywhere?
I think
if you find the link, send it to me.
You can find her.
I'll put it in there. This is one of the ones that I would do on our webpage we got a blog that we feature episodes and stuff like that. So if you have anything,
I have some stuff from that night.
Yeah, send me whatever you got.
Because like he
pictures
said,
up on it and everything.
absolutely, yeah. Like he said, we split up into groups, and I'm still jealous that he saw that because I still haven't seen an apparition.
Yeah.
But we split up into groups, and we were in separate groups that night.
Yeah.
And so we went down after, and I have a clip of this that I recorded. We had a flashlight on the ground, and I forget what the question was, but somebody asked a question, and when you're using like one of these or a flashlight or something, you communicate by saying, you ask a question and then blink once for yes and twice for no is usually what we'll say. And on command, she did mess with the flashlight, and I have it on
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And just the fact that,
you must
like,
have
how do you
freaked out
debunk
with
that?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't freaked out, honestly. I was just
probably
in awe.
pumped, right?
For me, it was a positive experience.
Yeah.
And not only that, but people, because it's like the spirit of a little girl. Like people, I have pictures that I can send you too that you can.
Please, yeah.
But like people brought like toys for like little girls and stuff and left them down in the basement.
Yeah.
And like there was a pinwheel, and the pinwheel moved by itself.
No kidding.
We got her to, we got her to do that. I have the flashlight footage that I took, and I have some pictures. And man, that was an unbelievable night. And unfortunately, like that was like a tour kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we had to pay, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which is a whole other thing.
So you do that often? You go on tours of places and kind of veer off to the right while everyone's going left?
So
good for you.
I mean, it's not...
If I hear a sound like over here, some people are like, "Oh my god, what's that?" I'm like, "Oh my god, what's that?"
Yeah.
Wait, did they let you bring all this on the tour though?
Yeah, you can bring your own equipment, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And, like, there's a whole thing with that, like, both of us are kind of like, it's kind of iffy because if you go on, like, a ghost tour kind of thing, you're going to have a lot of people there, which means you're going to get a lot of contamination in your evidence and whatnot.
Okay.
So I think that night, though, it was strictly teams. I don't think it was, like, all public.
Right.
So we kind of, like, everybody kind of knew what to do.
Oh, so museums and all that will open it up to different groups.
Yeah, it's like America's Stonehenge. Did we talk about that?
Yes, we want to get into that actually.
Yeah.
That's not too far.
It's right down. We passed it on our way here.
Let's mark that one. I want to come back to that one. America's Stonehenge.
And also, have you ever heard of Tuckertown in Danville?
No.
All right.
That sounds interesting.
I watched a documentary last night on Skinwalker Ranch. It had nothing to do with
I've
you
heard
guys
that.
coming on the show. I just turned it on. I saw Skinwalker Ranch. I've heard it on podcasts before and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you guys ever listened to the OBDM podcast.
I've heard of it.
If you're into like the paranormal and Bigfoot, and he's like the guy to go to and listen to his show. He's funny. He's entertaining.
Awesome.
He's good. I lost my train of thought where I was going with this.
Do that a lot.
I do it all the time.
Tuckertown, though?
Tuckertown was in.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because you'll forget.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
And it had nothing to do with you guys coming on. I put it on because I thought it was we watching an alien show, and it turned out to be like this like paranormal show and all these like ghosts coming out and slaughtering cows. But I want to hear about Tuckertown.
Well, so I heard of Tuckertown from like when I was a kid, and my neighbors like on the next street over when I went to school with them. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna go to this woods in Danville." And supposedly it was like there was an old like in the 1800s there was like people living there.
Right.
And then there was a smallpox outbreak and they killed everybody, burned up the town down, and there's still supposedly spirits there.
Right.
Now I went with a couple people, and I was like probably 12. And I think I was like 16 because we drove there.
Right.
And I mean, out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw something.
That'll happen.
But one of the kids, like, fell to the ground. He was the heavyweight on a wrestling team.
Right.
You know Ben Marmagallo?
I do.
Yeah, so he was there with us. Yeah. And then he got, like, pushed down. He says he got thrown down. I don't know how true it was. But, and then we all had, like, bad shit happen to us from then. Like,
right.
What happened to Ben was like not too long after that.
Right.
And then like I crashed my car into the woods. Like weird shit happened.
Right.
But yeah, I was just wondering if you knew about that.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any truth to it or anything,
Yeah.
but like I've gone to shoot guns out in the
Right.
woods and stuff. It's the power lines in Danville. It's like
Right.
all in that woods somewhere. Some people in town supposedly know exactly where the foundations are that are in the woods still.
Wait, so it used to be like an official town? But
Yeah, it'd be like
anymore?
picture like remember that M. Night Shyamalan movie with the village?
Yeah.
It would be like something like that. They were living in that village, and then a smallpox outbreak,
Right.
and they killed everybody, burned the place to the ground.
Wow.
But I don't know.
Jeez.
No kidding. That is interesting.
So hearing something like that and knowing about this Skinwalker Ranch, right? Is it? So I believe in realms, in dimensions, more
I do
dimensions.
too, yeah.
So is it that a distressed being can't make it to the light and ends up kind of being stuck between limbo? So that's pretty much what it is, huh?
Yep.
And they're usually, but are they usually people who have died in some sort of distressful way, like a drowning or in a house
I feel like
murder
a lot
or
of
something
it's like
like that?
hangings too, like
Yeah.
people kill themselves.
It's
Are
hard
there
to
all
say.
different? Are there friendly ones? And
Oh, absolutely.
Like the movie Soul isn't too off base. I don't know if you've seen that Disney Pixar Soul.
In the
I have 2 young kids, so I'm watching all this.
In the 7 years that I've been doing this, I've only had one experience that I would call negative.
Okay.
All my other experiences have been, either neutral or really positive, honestly.
Yeah. It's just the soul can't make it to the other side.
Yeah, I'm not gonna we're not pretentious at all. We don't pretend to know
Good.
why things happen.
Yep.
Or why the spirits are there. I mean, sometimes there's, you can deduce like a pretty good reason why there might be activity, but not always. But yeah, a lot of spirits, they might have unfinished business or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't think you have either. Maybe you have never personally taken part in an investigation where, somebody tried to help a spirit cross over or anything.
Okay.
But it would certainly be interesting to be a part of that. But
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never taken part in anything.
How did you guys get started in it all?
You
Gotcha.
go first?
What was your
I'll
spot?
go first.
Sure. Yeah. I probably got started. When did you get started?
2014, February.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I got started.
Specific.
I'm pretty sure I got started around 2012.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, it was a coworker was part of a team at the time, and her boyfriend at the time, was running the
Central.
Yep. And so she said that they were looking for new members, and it's something I've always wanted to do. And in the past, like my friends and I were like, "Oh, let's start a paranormal group or whatever."
Yeah.
Never really got off the ground.
Yeah.
So I just figured this would be easier, and so it was. I just started off with like a little digital camera and a digital recorder, and now I've got a few other toys that I don't have like here.
Right.
But I mean, I've certainly collected some over the years.
Of course, it's a hobby. Yeah, you start to collect toys.
And I have seen and heard things that I can't explain, or maybe I just don't want to.
Right. Yeah. A little bit of both, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
For example, back to that North Adams night, it was me and the guy who was running the group again. We're the only ones on the floor. We're the only ones in this particular room.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else was either like downstairs in the kitchen or downstairs in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to talk to the guy who had originally owned the house for the first time. And he was like the mayor of North Adams, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was talking to him, with being a mayor, maybe he likes cigars. So I was like, "Hey, do you like cigars? I smoke cigars. What's going on?" And then it just seemed like this came from all over, like around us.
Yeah.
There was like this big inhale and exhale.
No kidding.
And I was just like, what? What was that?
He was smoking a cigar.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Either that or he just didn't want anybody around.
Like 2 seconds after that, I felt like this graze against my hand.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can't really say for sure if that was paranormal or not.
Another thing that happened that night, there is... The mansion itself is not completely original. Like there were, some work done to it. In this sort of auditorium area in the mansion, there used to be a garden there.
Uh-huh.
They built over it. And in that room, you could smell flowers at certain points. You get like a whiff of flowers in that room where the garden used to be. And obviously, you're not going to smell flowers in like in an auditorium.
Right.
Yeah, strange things like that. You know, we should talk about Parsons Field.
Okay.
That was a cool investigation that I have footage of as well.
Do it up. Where's Parsons Field?
Parsons Field Seminary in Maine. Is it Parsons Field, Maine?
I think it is.
I think so. Yeah, it's in Maine somewhere.
How far? Well,
2 hours maybe?
Okay, so it's out there.
I'd say maybe like 3.
Portland, Maine area?
Maybe. Somewhere around there.
Kind of like Maine.
But
around Bangor, I think.
Yeah, and you were in the room for this. Remember the auditorium? We were sitting in the auditorium there.
Yes,
I have footage of this. We were in the auditorium and we weren't getting anything. Like nothing.
Just you guys?
No. It was like it was another thing where we split up into groups.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're in the auditorium. We weren't getting anything, and I was getting kind of antsy. I was like, well, maybe we should move on to a different room or something, you know. And I was waiting for everybody to, you know, agree with me that we should move on. So I'm sitting at the piano, and I start playing the piano. And all of a sudden, this, like once I start playing, it goes crazy. It starts going crazy. And then there were 2 other meters next to it, and then they start going crazy as well while I'm playing.
Okay.
And I stopped playing, and then the meters would stop. They'd stop going.
So like somebody dancing or something like that?
And then, I don't know. They liked the music though, apparently, even though I sucked at playing the piano.
Yeah.
But I have footage of that as well. Yeah. Just like they respond to music a lot.
You guys have a YouTube channel or anything like that?
I have some videos on my channel.
Okay.
We don't have an official channel anymore, but I do. I'll send you all the links.
Yeah. You guys should start a YouTube channel. Odyssey.
Yeah.
Odyssey is one that I really like because one, they don't censor like YouTube does, but I think the stuff that you guys are doing.
You don't have any risk.
Yeah, you don't have.
No, I know. Yeah, but I know what you guys are going through. I do.
Odyssey is a really good one, and it's partnered with Library, and they're actually based out of Manchester. The guy Jeremy Kaufman is the founder and CEO of Odyssey.
Right.
We're trying to get him on here with no luck. Knock on wood, something good happens. He's just busy right now because the SEC is breathing down his neck because they have a little bit of a cryptocurrency component to their site, and it's kind of like a use the crypto to get views, and you earn crypto as you view and stuff like that.
How about BitChute and Rumble? You guys?
I stopped BitChute last week, man.
Really?
3 times I tried to upload the cigar video, and it wouldn't take the upload. And it's happened so many different times that like 2 times is a charm sometimes.
Right.
After 3 and it didn't do it, I said, "I'll forget it." And I
didn't give you any reason for rejecting it? Like
it's just nothing. Just it doesn't upload. What it'll say is it won't have a time on the bottom where the video is.
Yeah.
And it'll say pending or whatever it is that it says when it's like processing.
Right.
And it just it never.
You should test by uploading another video, like a random video, see if that works.
Yeah. Sometimes I've done it and it didn't work, and I see it the next day that it still wasn't working. Mm-hmm. So I pull it off and I put it back on, and 10 minutes later it's up and it's on. So it's like hit or miss. I just didn't want to deal with it. So Odyssey is really reliable, and then what I use is Float for social media, like kind of like a Facebook,
right?
You know,
right.
So okay, let's get back into Bigfoot. We started talking about Bigfoot.
Yes, we'll talk.
Then I want to get an American Stonehenge, though.
Yes,
sure.
Yes.
Right.
So after Bigfoot, we'll segue into American Stonehenge. So American Stonehenge is right here.
Yeah, we drove by.
Yeah. We'll talk a little more about.
Yeah, our former owner was a little into Bigfoot. What didn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say more.
So where do you think Bigfoot is? Do you think Bigfoot is one person or one thing? Do you think it's many?
I personally do not really much of a believer.
Okay.
He's not really like, Bigfoot is out there.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not entirely sure. I'm kind of on the fence as well. But I kind of think there's land out there that we just don't know about.
Yep.
I think it's a little ignorant on our part to think that it isn't anything like that out there at all.
I hear they find new creatures down in the Brazilian rainforest all the time. I mean, they're finding new societies of people that we've never seen before.
Right.
Like the depths of the ocean, who knows? And you get into the Pacific Northwest, man, that's pretty dense dense,
dense,
wet forest. Yeah.
Something only like 8% or something. Some really low number of the ocean has actually been mapped out. You know.
Yeah.
You know we made it to the deepest that Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
You know what they found?
What's that?
Fucking trash.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I was like, you know, that's not even a shock. Doesn't even surprise me.
Don't tell
Doesn't surprise me either.
I know.
Actually, I think I don't know if this is true or not because I read online.
Yeah.
But there's like a place where like the Atlantic and the Pacific meet, and there's just like trash like right in the middle.
There's like a big trash pile the size of like Texas or something out there.
The Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yeah.
It's a legit thing. I think it's like 3 times the size.
Oh, all
of
right.
Texas.
What's up?
It's a ridiculous amount.
Torrens, I think, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's just where the waters kind of just come together.
That's
And they've been dumping shit offshore for years and years and years. And if you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, he had on a couple guys, a couple times this guy named Boyan Slot. And he's not even a guy, he's like 17 years old. And what he did is he went and actually invented machines of some sort that you put into the area and it kind of sucks all the trash in. And by his calculations, he would have that Pacific Garbage Patch cleaned up in like 10 years or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you check out Rogan's episodes, you can probably Google his name too.
Yeah.
Boyan, I think it's SLATT or SLAT.
Mm-hmm.
This guy gets zero credit or press, and it all goes to Greta, who simply sits there and does nothing. She just sits there and, how dare you? We need to clean this up. Well,
Then this guy is cleaning it up, and you don't hear shit about it.
Exactly. He's coming up with crazy inventions. All right, so Bigfoot, you're on the fence.
A little bit.
Do you think there's one around here?
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's very
possible. So it's just kind of out in the air, and it's one of those up in the air, and it's one of those things that you just got to be a believer.
Right.
Any evidence?
And no, we haven't.
Not you guys personally, but anything that you've like researched or anything like that.
Of course not. We haven't really personally researched anything.
Yeah.
But of course, you have that show Finding Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah. They have crap all the time.
Yeah. Like I'm so skeptical of all those shows.
Yeah, but is it legit or?
I don't know because they have all those town hall meetings, and they like somebody has a cast of a footprint that's like 5 feet long or something.
I know. I want to believe it.
Yeah.
I want to believe it. If it came out that Bigfoot was real, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
You know,
neither would I.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Neither would I.
It's like little Tic Tacs flying around, and they're calling aliens or unidentified aerial phenomena now.
Oh yeah.
He was social distancing before it became cool.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But it seems like most of the sightings of Bigfoot are revolve around people who were walking a trail or driving around in the middle of the woods at dusk and
or have their flip phone camera only and nothing else.
Right.
Nobody has
footage. And then they see like this dark mythical creature that like just stands up and is like 7.5 feet tall, and it's just like
could be a bear.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Could be.
Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah.
But
could be.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind going out in the middle of the woods and camping out for a weekend and trying to find something.
Where would you pick? Where's the hotbed of Bigfoot?
Oregon, right? Like Oregon.
Yeah, I would say Oregon. Around here, probably somewhere in the White Mountains.
Okay.
Okay. Forest there.
I'm intrigued. All right.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout on my moose hunts when I go up there.
Yeah, that's another thing they say. If there's like a thick herd of moose or deer or something, then it's like a Bigfoot is not
far away. Yeah, it needs to eat. Yeah. I don't know. Shit. That's cool.
And would Bigfoot use tools or run them down?
We also did a podcast called "We're Living in a Comic Book," so we're a little bit of comic geeks too. So
I like it,
and we are. Yeah, awesome. All right, so let's segue then into America's Stonehenge. So for people,
well, first off, before that, would that be the most haunted place you've done?
No, I don't think so.
What would be the haunted place in Salem?
Oh, in Salem?
Yeah. Or have you done a lot in Salem?
Unfortunately, no. I haven't done too much in Salem. Well, we did the session at Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Besides the replies that we got during that session, we didn't get really much of anything. It was mostly to test the app out. But yeah, I have a book at home that is has all the like really known haunted places in specifically New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
And I go through the book, and I'm like, oh, this place would be nice to investigate or whatever. But there's nothing in there for sale except for American Stonehenge. So,
really? Any of you? You've done American Stonehenge, right?
Yeah. Not to brag, but I'm actually the one that got that set up because I would be at work, and all my work would be done for the day, and I would go through all these different places and whatnot. And what I actually did was I typed up an email template, and I would just send it out to all different places, like the Robert Frost Farm. I wanted to do that place.
Really?
I never heard back from them, but
was that on that list?
No, that was one I thought of myself. And so I made up this template, and I emailed it to the Mount Washington Hotel and stuff like that. I would just go through and change the wording, for the template. And so I did one for American Stonehenge, and I think like they were probably like one of the only ones to get back to me with like any interest. And it was sort of like a deal I wanted to make, like, well, what if we work with you for like sort of like a fundraiser kind of thing? We'll raise money for your museum if we hold an event. And it was my hope that if we did that, they would give us a night just for our team to go out and investigate the place, because we did 2 nights. They both sold out, and that was great and everything. It was like a sort of like a Para 101 like educational sort of thing for the public to come in. And it was a complete success, but we showed people like how to investigate and stuff like that, the equipment, what sort of questions to ask and whatnot. But there was so much contamination by the end of the night because there were so many people. So there wasn't really much of anything collected evidence-wise. So, but we got some exposure. It was on TV. They filmed like a local sort of documentary thing, like on
like Chronicle or something.
No, not quite that long. It was like the sandwich. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have a clip of that I can send you as well.
Nice. Clips or links, whatever.
Yeah. I have like a 1.5-minute long clip of that particular documentary. I wish I had the whole thing, but so we did 2 nights of that. And unfortunately, we didn't I didn't want to be abrasive and be like, well, come on, you're going to give us access to the whole place, for ourselves, whatever. I mean, we raised them. I forget how much it was for a ticket, but there were 30 spots each night. So 60 times, I don't know, if you times it by 10, I suck at math, but either way,
$6,000, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we raised them a lot of money. We gave,
you gave them some exposure for sure.
Yeah, but they did give us the exposure as well. But I was more interested in having an investigation there, ourselves too. But yeah. Did you hear about that guy recently that was at American Stonehenge and defaced it? And saw that? The guy or whatever.
Yep.
I commented, I was like, I hope some of the spirits there follow him home and keep him up at night, because that's...
So you guys never got a chance to do anything?
No, unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet they would work with us again if we reached out to them.
So absolutely. I've never been there, but I've done a lot of looking into it, and my wife went there. She went to Salem schools and whatnot.
Yeah, I went there on a field trip.
Went on middle school field trips. They would go to American Stonehenge, and when there's stuff that has to do with astrotheology, right, and sundials.
Yeah.
And there's like sacrifice tables and caves and whatnot. And
it's funny, if you go on YouTube and search for it, like you'll have teams that like pay to go there during the day and they try to do an investigation, with a pendulum and stuff like that. I was like, I respect the effort, but it's like
you'd rather do it at night, right?
Yeah.
What is it about the nighttime that makes the spirits kind of come out?
Well, I mean, there's really no rule saying you have to investigate at night or you have to investigate during the day.
Yeah.
It does, like a spirit wouldn't matter.
They have no concept of time.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it doesn't matter.
But most of the time, we find that most of the activity does happen later at night.
Yeah.
So we tend to like to get started into an investigation like around 8 o'clock or something. And then depending on how much activity we get, will determine how long we stay at a client's house or business or whatever.
So do the clients seek you guys out, or do you?
Sometimes.
Okay, sometimes they seek you out. What do you guys charge for a session?
Nothing.
Really?
Never.
That's the thing.
Never.
If you ever run into a paranormal group that will charge, more than likely they are not legit. They're just looking to collect cash and skedaddle.
And then get out of there, do some fake stuff. So you guys brought your equipment with you. Can you go over some of the stuff that we got here? Maybe we can put it in the front so that when the camera gets it, it can pick it up.
Okay.
So get some gadgets. Then.
So what I have here is this little guy is called a geophone, and he will pick up heat.
Put the mic right on the other side of you. That way the camera will pick up what you're showing.
So this is a geophone, and it'll basically pick up vibration.
Yeah, you showed me that earlier.
Yeah. So if I turn this on, and forgive me because there's going to be a little bit of feedback here. So I just usually have it hooked up to an external speaker.
Okay.
And if you
that's all that is just a blue. Okay, so the actual device is the little thing that's in your hand.
Yeah. So usually I like to have it spaced out a little bit more.
Spaced out from the speaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. Sorry, Pop. I don't know why there's some static there. So basically, you can have this in a room, and you can be into like a next room or something like that.
And you just run along a speaker wire.
Yep. Yeah. And then if something comes by, of course, it's not going to do it.
I did hear this earlier. It is legit.
Yeah, there you go.
So if anything walks by this, you'll hear it on the speaker.
So a spirit would actually make a noise like a footstep?
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep.
You would think that they were just like float.
Sometimes you can hear footsteps with just without anything like this. Other times you may not be able to. So something like this will amplify the footstep or whatever.
Do you think they do that because they want to be known that their presence is there and they want to be
I think sometimes yes.
Or talk, maybe they're lonely or something like that.
I think sometimes yes, they do want to have their presence known.
Yeah.
That they're kind of still there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we said before. Sometimes we run into some that are like what's the word I'm looking for? The negative. I'll just say.
Malevolent.
Yeah, that's a word. Thank you.
Like an unfriendly.
Yeah, and then sometimes there are moments that we don't have that feeling whatsoever.
Yeah.
And we can just go about our business or whatever. But so this device I have here, just called EDI.
Yeah.
EDI. It records or monitors, I should say. It's like a 5-tool device. It'll monitor temp and display the temp, pressure, humidity. There's an EMF field here. Okay. Milligauss is just the scale that it uses.
EMF is electromagnetic field, right?
Yep. So basically, the idea is that a spirit will pass in front of EMF detector or this, and it'll light up.
Okay.
Sometimes you can tell a spirit to light it up all the way to the red, or like halfway or whatever. And again, this is another tool to use like yes or no questions as well.
Yeah.
And then the bottom kind of acts like this, but it doesn't have like the speaker.
Yeah.
But it will light up orange if something is walking by it.
No kidding.
No, if it's at red, that means it's basically like touching this unit, right? And when you say like move this bar all the way
very
up.
close in proximity to it.
So what is an electromagnetic field?
So basically, spirits kind of give off like this electro field.
Yeah. Don't humans do that too? Like vibrations of some sort?
I would say to a point.
Yeah, because your body is like made up of electricity. They say that if you're like what they say in the conspiracy world is the whole 6-foot separation thing during COVID became so because 6 feet is the amount that your electromagnetic pulses can vibrate, and just being around like a positive person will make another person positive, and you feed off of each other's energy. So that's anything beyond 6 feet, you get less and less of being able to share that positive vibe. But I'm sorry to interrupt. I do that all the time too. So.
A lot of times too, like electronic devices will can I borrow your K2?
Yeah.
Electronic devices will also set some of these things off.
Okay.
So before an investigation, we like to go around to like a house and
baseline reading
and do a baseline reading exactly, and and so like sometimes electronic devices will, and it's not going to do it, is it? Oh my god.
Well, that's a good thing.
Try it next to the microphone or even the laptop, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. So
and that has no noise to it. That's just light.
Yeah. So you would like to kind of go around and see what areas of a building or a house or whatever will give off some of that.
So we don't get any
reading.
False positives.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the first thing you do at every investigation. What you see on TV is all the exciting stuff and none of the boring stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I bet it's a lot of sitting and waiting and.
Nope. There is.
So we had this device in on an investigation in Massachusetts once.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that rundown house that we did? Were you with?
I don't know.
I think it was me, you, and Sonia.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, we had 2 locations. There was the condo, and then there was the ranch that was like, I don't know, it was like 5 minutes away.
I don't remember. But
anyway,
go ahead.
I had this turned on, and it was just sitting at the end of a hallway, and
I remember now.
And it was getting lit up at least halfway.
Yeah.
And consistently. So I'm like, okay, we're all like at the opposite end of the hallway. So we're not walking near that thing. I turn on a flashlight, there's nothing else around it. Like, I had literally no explanation for why that was happening.
And when that does happen, that's when you want to grab your camera. Because you see the thing going off, take a picture, multiple pictures.
Yep.
You never know what you might get. Because
now, why the picture you can see something, but on your own eyes you can't?
I'm not going to pretend I know.
Is there an explanation for that?
I'm not going to pretend I know. I'm sure there's a scientific answer.
Sometimes you can.
Yeah.
Like the shadow apparition that we saw. I mean, sometimes you may not be able to.
Yeah.
And because also the same thing applies to audio as well. Because when we started under the new title, we did the bed and breakfast, and we were going around. Basically, it was just him and I after like midnight. So we just kind of like walked around the place and just started to like see what we could talk to or whatever. We didn't hear it like without the recorder, but we went back and we listened to it, and we were basically talking back and forth with each other, and we all of a sudden just hear this shh.
Really?
Now, the place that we were in used to be a schoolhouse back in the day. And so it kind of made a lot of sense that, teachers would just be like, shh, to their children. They'd be like, hey, knock it off, Johnny.
One place you guys should check out is, and he's going to laugh when I say this, Corbin's Park in Croydon. So it's it borders, it's 24,000 acres, and it's this private hunting reserve. But the guy who initially set it up was from New Hampshire, moved out west, started a banking industry, moved back into New York, built up Coney Island, and then moved back into New Hampshire and set up this private hunting preserve. He was buddies with like a J.P. Morgan banker types, and Solomon Chase of like Chase Manhattan Bank was his cousin.
Yeah.
And he was mysteriously thrown from his horse and carriage one night and died, and that was his expiration right there.
I don't like babies either.
And it was a premature death, even though he was still in, I think he was in like his 60s or something like that. And it was during the Gilded Age, so after the Civil War, and I'm fascinated by this place because it's just this giant hunting preserve. It's in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire. Yeah.
It's like northwest.
It's
what's it near?
It's
Lebanon.
It's on the Connecticut River.
Claremont.
Yeah, Claremont. Exactly. It's part of it's in Claremont.
Yep.
So this guy's house that he lived in is in Claremont, I believe, or Croydon, one of the two, but they border each other, and that's where he ended up dying. Was on the road going to his house, and supposedly the horse went nuts because it heard a sound. But I mean,
is it public property or is it?
The roads around it all are, but once you're inside the fence, no, you're in private property. Yeah. It'd be something cool to look into. Austin,
but good luck getting access to the property.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a whole other nightmare doing this.
Yeah. It's like.
What about somewhere even closer, like Wyndham Restaurant?
I wanted to do that place so bad. Like that's a place that I reached out to like more than once.
Who's that?
And
Exit 3?
Yeah, right across from the McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I wanted to do that place so bad, but they have their own official team, right?
Really?
Yeah, I forget New England Ghost or some generic name like that. But I shouldn't be snarky on a podcast like this, but it just bothers me because it's like, well, why don't you give another team a chance to come in and see what they can do?
Or give several teams and then everybody...
Yeah, something like that. It could only, promote your restaurant even more to let another team come in.
Yeah.
Give another team a chance.
Or even promote each of the groups too, right? Do you guys collaborate a lot with each other?
We have in the past a lot.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of quite a few investigations where we've had two groups, and it's kind of nice because you can see how one group approaches the investigation process and see how another team approaches.
Yeah. You'd think you'd all want to be collaborators, and maybe this
they're all in the same boat.
You would not believe how many prima donnas are actually.
I believe it.
Oh my God! There's like
where we do these podcasts, the group that we kind of end up like linking up with the Ripple Effect with Ricky, and he's out of Massachusetts, and then another guy out in Portland.
Right.
Everybody's so supportive of each other, and it's just awesome.
Great.
Yeah, it should be the same way with everything, I think.
I wonder if you start doing podcasts too, like
you have a podcast.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's wrap it up with the podcast. I want to hear about the podcast, and you guys started it and stopped it, and now you just started it up again. I was excited to see an episode pop up today. So
and people will check it out. And then you can use maybe you'll have other people on there and you can get together and talk about like why we do, and we just you end up on their podcast, they end up on our podcast.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Zoom really sucks for doing podcasts.
Oh, it's miserable.
Yeah, you'll find out when you do it. It's nothing like this. Like, I'm so glad you guys actually came here to do this, because it's so much easier to just talk like
because we do ours remotely.
You don't get social cues when you do it on Zoom, even though you're on the computer. And we'll sit just like this, and we'll push the computer back so it gets us. And everybody you're looking at, whether it's one person or you're doing a podcast with 10 people, you've got no social cues whatsoever because there's a delay in the video. Everybody's interrupting each other, and you can't be like, "Oh, sorry for interrupting you," because that "sorry for interrupting you" comes out after, and there's an awkward pause.
Yeah, that sucks.
It sucks. Zoom below.
But anyway, go over your podcast.
Yeah, with just the two of us, it kind of works. What we use is Facebook Messenger.
Yeah,
and we just usually call each other through that.
Yep,
and we have video, we can video with each other. Eventually, I would like to get out and do video or a whole podcast.
Yeah.
But the podcast is just called. This is funny because I don't even know the name of our own podcast, but it's New Hampshire Ghostcast, right?
Yeah,
Ghostcast.
Ghostcast.
So we have that.
New Hampshire Profile Paranormal Ghostcast, or just Ghostcast.
Yeah, I'll link it up.
And then New Hampshire Profile Paranormal on Facebook. We actually. When we rebranded the team, we were lucky that we were able to keep all the likes and everything.
Yeah,
because there's almost 3,000 likes, so that was good to be able to not have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we have a Facebook presence. He's active on it a lot.
Yeah.
So you can follow us on there. Any questions at all? Feel free to reach out to us. I had a girl the other day. I don't even know her. She just messaged me. She's like, "Can you take a look at this?" And then we have a group chat.
Yeah.
That's always on. And I'm like, I sent it to them. Can you guys give your opinion on this? And because get back to people right away, you know?
Yeah, awesome. So you're responsive and you do paranormal investigations for free. So
Free,
someone's
absolutely free too.
in some old farmhouse and they hear
Yeah.
creaking through the night. They could
We
call
love
up you
it.
guys and
We love it. I get so excited when we get a new case. I really do.
What's your radius that you go? Like how far? Depends on
Or
how
what's your
worth it is.
dream place to go?
Mount
Yeah,
Washington
that's a good
Hotel.
Okay. You think there's some creepy shit there? Huh?
There is.
Still it, man. What?
Absolutely.
Who knows? You don't know until you
Yeah,
get there.
it's like it just reminds me of The Shining. Almost.
Yeah,
It's,
that's
you know.
So do you
it's
go
just-
by like past stories of like a murder in the place?
Kind of,
or-
yeah,
or-
yeah. The
like-
more I researched about it, the more I wanted to get in there, and it's just there's so much red tape.
Well, up in that area too, when you're driving up and you got the Mount Washington Hotel,
Yeah.
I think it's on your right hand side, and you keep going north, you eventually hit that town or that area with the avalanche. Wiped out the whole family, the entire family. And
Yeah.
you tore through their house and everything. I'm drawing a blank on what the name is.
Jeez.
But yeah, the avalanche just wiped everybody out.
I never heard
Come
of.
on.
I never heard of that, but that sounds terrifying.
And then even the top of Mount Washington. So I
Yeah.
hiked Mount Washington years back. It was probably in like the early to mid 90s.
Right.
Me and my friend's father and my friend, we hiked up. We came back down Tuckerman, but the route we went up, I'm getting drawing a blank on the name of the route we went up,
Yeah.
had a plaque dedicated to this lady who had to get to the top of the Mount Washington Observatory.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up going up, and everybody warned her not to because there was bad weather that was coming. And this is back in like the 1800s.
Right.
So she makes it to the top, but she doesn't know that she made it to the top because the weather got so bad. So she ended up stopping and resting, and she ended up dying. The weather just got so severe, she didn't know where she was or anything.
That's
Once
terrible.
the weather cleared, they found her, and she was maybe like 5 minutes from the summit.
That is
Yeah,
terrifying.
yeah. So I hear stuff like that. I'm like, oh wow, I wonder if that lady's still, living in the woods.
Yeah.
You know?
Could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Now, what about the shows on TV? Done up
Oh,
for.
man. We have a whole episode on
Yeah,
that.
you do. Yeah.
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 They need ratings. They need their advertisers to have, an exciting show to watch, They don't show all the sitting around, they don't show all the tedious, setting up equipment. Well, sometimes they do, but I don't know.
They make it like fun, kind of.
Yeah, they really
Big
do,
jokes.
and they definitely embellish things. They can't pay all this money to produce an episode and have no evidence,
Right.
at all.
But they kind of don't. They're always like, "Oh, did you see that? No, I didn't, because you weren't fast enough with the camera."
And then, they have the drama. They got to add a little drama in there, like reality TV.
Yeah.
And they always kind of spruce up the music for dramatic effect.
Oh yeah, that too.
It's
That
like,
too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Like I saw one episode where a guy was using one of these, and this thing has no sound.
And it beeps.
In the episode, yeah.
Yeah, they all beep.
Yeah. So I'm like, this thing has no sound.
that one doesn't have any sound.
No, and I'm like, how they added that in post production?
That's probably everybody thinking something like Ghostbusters when they pull out the EKG meter and
Yeah. So, the shows are entertaining. They're good. I don't mind watching them, but mainly I'm just jealous of those teams because they have a production company that says we want our team to come in and investigate this place. Well, how much?
Travel
open their checkbook.
Yep, they're cherry picked.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
They were probably actors at some point in time, if not still actors, and they were cast for that role.
And not only that, I want to get this in before we wrap up too, is that we actually heard from a production company that wanted to work with us.
Yeah.
The show is called Ghost Nation.
Okay.
Which is a pretty popular show on the Travel Channel. They reached out to us, and right around the same time the pandemic hit.
Yep.
So that went up.
That was it. Yeah.
It didn't end up happening.
Oh, that's too bad.
Sucks.
So now everybody's sick of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. People are over all this crap. They're starting to see what's really happening, and we're gonna move on, I think. And I think you guys need to get out there and start doing some stuff this summer and definitely.
Yeah, no, you're telling us. Yeah, absolutely. Being on the show with you guys is like pretty much like the first step to say, hey, we're ready to get back on.
Awesome. If you guys need any help with like website building or
Go to him. Don't go to me.
like getting set up with like audio and whatnot, there's I use GarageBand. It's native to the Mac.
Right.
If you're using like a Windows-based computer, there's free stuff online that you can download. OBS is a good one.
Right.
And then from there you can use Audacity to do the audio. There's all kinds of different options and all that stuff. So yeah. Feel free. Call you local here, right? Salem, Manchester. So friends of the Resistance Chronicle, man. Welcome to the
Welcome to the world headquarters.
This is excellent.
Yeah, awesome. Where can we find you guys? Oh, before we go, what do you like for cigars? What do you got going on, man?
Oh, jeez.
You like Castro's Back Room in Manchester?
Yep. I do go to Twins every once in a while.
Yep. What do you like to smoke though?
I like to have some flavor with my cigar.
Do you?
I like a full body, like medium to full.
Oh hell yeah, man! Padron. The Padron anniversary is my go-to. Yeah.
I smoked one of those before with my cousin.
Yeah, nice.
Just like if I'm gonna be smoking a cigar, like I definitely want something with like some flavor.
Yeah, you want to know you're smoking a cigar. Yeah,
exactly.
There's some that are out there and it's like puffing on air. He's getting into it now, and you'll find out. Like when you smoke those Dos Hombres, you're gonna. And you smoke a Padron, it's like night and day.
Oh, it is night and day.
If you smoke enough of the Dos Hombres, or you smoke enough of the Padrones, you won't even know that you're smoking a Dos Hombre. It's like just breathing air, yeah. And Dos Hombre, that's two guys. And Jonathan, who we had on last week, the store that he runs, that's their like flagship brand name cigar. It's their own self-labeled cigar.
Sure.
Yeah, that's cool. We should get together for a cigar sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
What about you? Do you smoke cigars?
I'm not sophisticated enough. I just smoke cigarettes.
There's nothing sophisticated about cigars. There's nothing sophisticated. Go into Two Guys at noontime on any given day of the week, and you'll see there's nothing sophisticated about them. So where can you find you guys? Facebook? You got a Facebook page?
Yeah, right now we just have a Facebook page. I think we will start that YouTube channel.
We had one, but our former teammate took off with it.
Just start another one. Come up with a different email. You got a different name for it now, so don't worry about that.
Just New Hampshire Profile Paranormal on Facebook.
We have an email, nhpp603 at gmail.com.
And
so if you got any haunted houses in mind, let them know.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's worth the travel.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So that was great, guys. I appreciate you coming by.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Good. I'm glad. We're done recording.
Excellent.
So happy we made this happen.